Well, welcome back to 1136 Ministries. I'm Lou Sloger, and thanks again for being here. I took last week off because I went down to Tennessee for some training for a new ministry that I'm going to be partnering with. And so this episode's given over to updating you on where we are and where we hope to go, and then just some thoughts that have the Lord has brought home more effectually in my life over the last many months, actually. So there's a ministry called right here, Standing Stone Ministries, and it's been around for about 25 years. It started as a retreat center for pastors and their families, and then they recognized that the need to encourage pastors was broader than just a retreat center. So they developed a whole ministry to pastors, and they have what they call field shepherds, which is what I will be by the grace of God. And it's been around now for about 25 years. They've helped over 3,000 pastors. And right now at the home office, they receive about 8 to 10 inquiries a day, which is 40 or 50 a week, of pastors looking for help, just wanting somebody to talk to, wanting to have a sounding board. Some are actually in real crisis mode and struggling, need some advice and help and prayers. So by God's grace, I spent last week in south of Nashville in Murfreesboro, and had a great time. Met people from around the country, one couple from South Africa. The training was wonderful. The fellowship was wonderful. And I believe I can say this without contradiction that everybody who left there left with a renewed sense of purpose and vision and excitement for what God has done. I have been in the pastoral ministry for 40 years. Many of the people that were there were in similar situations. There was one other gentleman, his name was Dan. He and I think, were the two oldest there and had the most experience. But everybody had enough time. In fact, in order to be part of this ministry, you've had to be in the pastorate, in the ministry for at least 7 years. They want people with experience and with knowledge, with understanding, who can empathize and who can sympathize, and who can really come alongside pastors and help them. The fact of the matter is this: there are not enough good churches and there are not enough good pastors. And so if we can do anything to help solidify good pastorates and strengthen good churches, that is, I believe, certainly a worthwhile endeavor. I could go through a ton of statistics, but let me just give you one where about 70% of pastors have struggles with loneliness, with a sense of not really having in their lives, outside of their wives, a real confidant that they can really pour out their heart to, become vulnerable with. And again, most people don't appreciate just how hard it is to be a pastor. You're taking care of, in some cases, hundreds, if not thousands of people. And you care about them. They don't always appreciate the nights that you spend with other people going through different things, hospital visits, funerals, weddings. It's a job. And most pastors are in relatively smaller churches, and most pastors are not getting rich. I think it was Harry Truman who said, show me someone who became rich by being a politician, and I'll show you a crook. And I don't know if that's exactly true in the pastorate, but most pastors are not in it for the money. And so one of the things that we're doing as a ministry at Standing Stone is people like me have to raise their own support. And that way we can offer our services and our encouragements to pastors free of charge. I mean, I believe, if you could just think about this: a pastor calls in or he emails and is looking for some help, and then we say, oh yeah, we can help. And then he says, well, how much will it cost me? And the first step of encouragement is to tell them, nothing. It won't cost you anything. All of us have raised our own support. We offer our friendship and our services and our encouragement to you free of charge. I think that in itself is an encouragement and a blessing. So please pray for me. You can go to my website at 1136ministries.com if you want to give, to help support me in this thing. You can also email me at 1136ministries@gmail.com if you have any questions or want further information about this. But I'm really excited. So going forward, I'll be again what's called a field shepherd, partnering with Standing Stone Ministries. Feel free to go to their website, Standing Stone Ministries. Um, I think it's .com or org. I forget right now. But go and visit them, check them out, see what they're all about. And then again, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me at 1136ministries@gmail.com. And then I'm going to continue with the podcast. So I'll have going forward in my life. I just, last Wednesday when I was in Tennessee during the training, I called my wife and said, hey, I'm really pretty sure this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. And I had such an overwhelming sense of a calm assurance of that whole peace that passes understanding thing, knowing that or believing that this is the path God wants me on, this twofold path of continuing the podcast to teach the Word of God and to have devotional Bible studies at least twice a week, and then be engaged in this Standing Stone ministry of encouraging pastors and helping them along the way. There are seasons in which you're just enjoying the blessings of God and things are going well. But when you have that sense of, boy, this is really what I'm supposed to be doing, it was such an overwhelming sense of assurance and peace. It kind of startled me a little bit like, well, something's got to go wrong. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, but it didn't. And so when I left there Thursday afternoon, it was just renewed excitement and enthusiasm and confidence in God's goodness and his grace, as Paul would say, and as I really believe, toward the worst of sinners. We got to share our testimonies with each other while we were down there, and just being with her rehearse this coming Christmas Eve. Those of you who know me know I was in a barroom brawl Christmas Eve 1978. Guns were pulled and I literally fought for my life. And so rehearsing the last 47 years and how many times God spared my life, rehearsing 40 plus years of pastoral and kingdom endeavors, how much, this is, I guess, one of the things that really came home to me afresh, is that the Apostle James says we all stumble in many ways. Paul talks about in Romans 7, the very thing I want to do, I don't do. Anything I want to do, I don't end up doing. He tells us in Galatians 5 that the Spirit wages war against the flesh. These two are in opposition. And there's just this ongoing battle in all of our hearts and minds of wanting to do the will of God, but knowing that, we're not all that. And so just to see God's gracious provision and his faithfulness toward me as an individual I'm 69 years old now, and how marvelous it is to look back and to see thus far God has helped me. And I can look forward knowing he brought me this far for a reason, and it wasn't to kick me to the curb or to be done with us. So I'm so thankful for my wife, who especially in the last couple of years has shown me afresh why I married her. We just celebrated 42 years, our 42nd anniversary this past Wednesday. Very thankful for her and her encouragement and her just hanging with me. And my son and his own grappling with Christianity and then watching us go through things. And God has brought us as a family to a place of real peace, for which I'm just really encouraged. So I'm going to spend our last few moments together talking about in 1985, 86-ish, I went to a pastor's conference and heard a former Roman Catholic priest who was powerfully converted while he labored in the shadow of the Vatican. And when he talks about his conversion experience, and then he talks about what transpired in his heart after that, he kept saying in this really strong Italian accent that he wanted to go down deep with God. I want to go down deep. And sometimes we don't appreciate that that's exactly what's going on in our lives when pain and hurt and heartache and trials, difficulty, when joys and triumphs and victories all mingle together in our lives, and we just kind of keep pressing on. But what is really happening is that we're going down deep. We're being rooted and grounded in love. The promises of God become more precious to us. The commandments of God and his directives become we take them more seriously in our lives. And we want to make our calling and election sure. We want to be diligent in working out our salvation. And these things are happening sometimes without a full conscious awareness. But these are some of the very first verses I ever memorized. And the first time these really, really came home to me in a profound way was in 1982. I was down at Last Days Ministries in Texas with a man named Keith Green, and I was there earlier in the year in 1982. Left there, I think it was around the end of March, first part of April, and then Keith was killed in a plane crash that July. And I got a phone call about 2 o'clock in the morning that Keith had died in a plane crash. And I was working on his house and played this little game with this boy named Josiah. And while I was working on the house, he engaged me in a little Q&A, and then we played this game of what he became a lion, I became a lion hunter. He became a bear, I became a bear hunter. And he was just the cutest little kid, and he was on the same plane. And so when I got the call and I was told that, it was just stupersville. It's like, how can this be? It was the first time my faith was really, really challenged and questioning the wisdom of God and how could he let this happen? And then these verses came to mind, verse 5 in particular. But let me start at verse 3 of Proverbs 3 and read through verse 8. And this is this is just a way to live, right? It's just a way to live. Do not let kindness and truth leave you. Boy, keep those two things together, kindness and truth. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. So you will find favor and good repute in the sight of God and man. And here's verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. And do not lean on your own understanding. Verse 6. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord, turn away from evil. It will be healing to your body and refreshment to your bones. And I think for both my wife and myself, we could say that we've gone deeper with God in relationship, particularly to these here verses. It's just amazing when I stepped down from my pastorate last August and didn't know what we were going to do or where we were going to go or how or any of those things. And it was a time of pain and sorrow and confusion and then just a sense of anxiety of what does the future hold. And I pursued looking into pastoring another church, and that door was closed. I pursued 2 different ministries in Florida, and I, with just praying and talking to my wife, we closed those doors and decided, no, that's just not what we want to do. And then my current pastor encouraged me to develop my own 501c3, which is what we did with 1136 Ministries. And he encouraged me to start the podcast, which we did. And about the same time we started the podcast, I came across Standing Stone Ministries. And I had 4 phone call interviews, had online training, and had a book to read, and then went down south and spent 4 days in training. And here we are. But if you'd have asked me a year ago, what are you going to do? I was kind of clueless as far as the practicalities of life. However, I can tell you this, and again, without really being consciously aware of it, we were trying to live out these verses. We were trying to continue in spite of trial and difficulty. We were trying to keep kindness and truth linked together. We were trying to have them be significantly influencing our hearts and minds, wanting to do what was right and wanting to be like Jesus no matter what. And again, everybody should know this, right? None of us are doing this perfectly. Nobody I know is walking on water. But we should all be trying to keep what God has joined together, kindness and truth, and have those things substantially influencing us day by day. And then no matter what, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. We're not that smart, right? Fear the Lord, turn away from evil. It'll be healing to your body, refreshment to your bones. And he will set your path straight. And as the months have unfolded, day by day, you get a little bit of light, a little bit of more light. And here we are, just so peaceful and optimistic for the future, knowing full well I live in a sin-fallen world. Trials and pain and difficulty will come, but I do believe we've gone a little deeper and have a little bit better understanding of our own hearts and minds, the ways of God with his people, the world in which we live, and how just setting your hands to the plow and not looking back. The only thing you should look back on, what Paul said, right? Paul said, forgetting what lies behind, pressing on to what lies ahead. That's what I'm going to try to do. That's what my wife and I are praying together to do. We're going to forget what lies behind and press on to what lies ahead. However, the one thing, at least one thing, there may be a couple more, but this is one thing that you should be able to look back on. The faithfulness of God and his grace that brought you this far. A couple weeks ago, I was at the dog park with my little doggie, and it was dark, like 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning. And so we're walking around the park, and, I had this weird feeling that I need to look behind me. And so I did. I physically turned and looked, and there's just darkness. I didn't see anything. And knew I was going to be heading to Tennessee, a little bit of anxious, a little bit of anxiety and what the future holds, and just grappling with, taking my thoughts captive. And then the thought was, you didn't see. And so I just looked back again. I thought, I don't know, what am I supposed to see? Then I realized what I was looking for was the faithfulness of God that had brought me this far. And to just cultivate a deeper sense of gratitude, of the trial and difficulty he has seen us through, the grace he has continually poured out, the patience and the mercy that he has shown, the sins that he has forgiven, the fact that he has caused all things to work together for good. How this God is amazingly good. And this is the kind of thing that I want to take to my mission field and helping and encouraging pastors to do our best to not give up on seeing the goodness of God in the land of the living. So be strong. Let your heart take courage and wait on God. He is so unspeakably kind. Again, I want to thank everybody who's been a part of my journey. And I've got 75, 76 subscribers on YouTube, and that's the channel that we're really trying to funnel people to. We're on Facebook and X, and really encourage you to share that, help spread the word, mainly just pray for us. But I'm so thankful to the Lord, to my wife, and to all of you who have been an encouragement and help us to press on. So feel free again to reach out. Let me know if there's a topic you want us to cover in the podcast. But prayerfully consider supporting us and learning about Standing Stone Ministries and what we're going to try to accomplish by God's grace. I'm very humbled. I'm very thankful, and all of you are playing a part of that. So God bless you all. I hope to hear from you. 1136ministries@gmail.com. Visit the website. And again, Lord willing, our next episode will be back to the Gospel of John. But wanted to give the update. Wanted to give public thanks to God and his mercy and my wife for putting up with me for 42 years. God has been what he always is, gracious, and kind to sinners like me. So God bless. Have a wonderful day, and help us spread the word. See you next time.